This will unlock the Bills. After a dominant rookie year and a rocky injury-ridden second season, tight end Dalton Kincaid is finally healthy and stronger than ever. He could be the key to boosting Josh Allen's efficiency and unleashing Buffalo's offense in the 2025 season. My name is Maeve Miller, and I'm a part of the Bills Digest team, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Bills Digest. So Kincaid has been on the team for 2 seasons so far, entering his third, and he's originally drafted in the first round out of Utah, and he definitely had a very explosive rookie year. People had really high hopes for this, and a lot of times rookie year is kind of like building year, but it seemed like he got right into it. Allen targeted him a lot, and he actually set the Bills' rookie reception record with 73. And someone like Allen, you kind of got to get used to like the way he plays. He throws it very hard, but Kincaid just seemed to get it right away and understand the playbook. So I feel like going into it, like in the middle of the season, people were just like very excited about what he could do. And his stats in the beginning kind of reflected that. In 2023, we can see he had 673 yards. And I feel like that's very impressive for a rookie. Some rookies, it doesn't transition into the NFL at all. And, him playing in 16 games out of that, which is very impressive. And we did see in 2024, this dropped a lot. Like I said, expectations were really high going into his second year. And due to a couple things like injuries mainly, his numbers really decreased. He did miss 3 games for a knee injury in week 10, and it just seemed like after that he never really recovered. He only had 448 yards, which is a significant decrease from the previous season, and people were expecting that, those 2023 numbers to double, and that just did not happen. In the playoffs in both years, he also had a little bit of a difference. In 2023, he put up over 100 yards with 1 touchdown, and in 2024, those numbers dropped to 71 with 0 touchdowns. And even though the injuries kind of hit him later in the season, in 2024, it just kind of seemed like he didn't have as much of a rhythm, and his confidence was definitely lowered, which was interesting. And like Beane had even said that like maybe he was overly critical of Kincaid, that maybe this injury had affected him more than they had thought, because when he came back in week 13, he just did not seem like the same player he was. And Beane said that maybe he should have taken some more time out, and maybe they rushed him in too fast, but it just was not great. And there was also a very significant moment in the AFC Championship where Dalton Kincaid, this quote or this tweet said that it was the biggest drop of his life. He got a lot of hate and blame for this, and he definitely blamed himself because the Bills did end up losing that game. But his teammates had his back, especially Josh Allen and fellow tight end Dawson Knox. They just had like the fact that he was able to even get that ball in his hands was very impressive because he was coming from the other way. He had a major dive, but fans were really upset because this definitely would have changed like the tide of the game. However, it's hard to pinpoint one moment for the reason of their loss. So it just kind of looked like it was chalked up to just lack of confidence, and it was just hard to see him play like this because I feel like his rookie season, he was very bubbly, like golden retriever energy, and was just flying all over the place. He was getting a lot of targets from Allen and catching a lot of them. So it was hard to see it go into like his second year and just have, not as great of a season. And Beane definitely stressed after that he wanted Kincaid to get stronger, and that was what he should work on in the offseason, because he was just getting stopped really easily by these athletic linebackers who definitely have more NFL experience than him. And it's all just kind of like a learning process. And, entering his third year, we're hoping to see that things kind of change. But he was featured in Bill's Wire, said that he was one of the 3 players that needed to improve after a rough season. So, a lot of the public and fans are noticing this. And 2 other players that were named in that were Matt Milano and Keon Coleman, who just need to improve. And this article was kind of saying that if they do, this could be the key to the Bills' offense and defense just getting a lot stronger. But kind of going into that, I want to talk about some of his improvements for year 3. There's been a lot of good news coming out of the mini camp and training camp. Just that, he's been working a lot harder, even though he was always working hard, but he just bulked up. He's up to 6'4", 240 pounds, and he's just always been a big dude, but this has really been helpful, get a little stronger and be able to beat some of those more experienced players. And it's all about like getting this kind of confidence back too, and more reps in the mini camp and with training camp, that will definitely help getting used to Allen again. And yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do for sure. And there were some quotes from Brandon Beane. He said he's definitely in a stronger position than he probably was this time last year. So I'm excited for Dalton. And you can see the confidence in the knee and the body out there as we went along. From even from 3 or 4 weeks ago. So there's been improvement in short periods of time, which is great. And then the offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, said, loved everything I've seen from him. He's playing with confidence again. It's been really fun to see. So I think that's just very positive notes from that. And confidence can definitely be a huge factor. When you have such a good rookie season and then you don't play as well, and, fans are at you and you're in your own head, that it just tends to bring your performance down. So I just hope that he gets some of that confidence that he had back as a rookie, and we'll see what happens, because if he's healthy, this can definitely create like a big mismatch for the defenses. He's very quick and he can kind of outplay those linebackers, but he's also like too strong for some of those cornerbacks. So it kind of makes him a great weapon for the offense. And he does have that potential to be a starting tight end. He's with Dawson Knox, who is kind of aging, more of a veteran. And I just think he definitely has the chance to get that spot. So I'm excited. But I want to talk about how he can also change up in the offense. The defense definitely will have to count for him in the middle, and this can free up like other positions, other players like James Cook, Keon Coleman. They especially the wide receivers, they can get more routes on the outside or go underneath, and I just think that will be good. It's always nice to have another weapon out there. And, with Allen, he targets anyone. Doesn't matter if it's the running back, like Ty Johnson got a lot of receptions, or tight ends like Kincaid or Dawson Knox, or even, the wide receivers. He just goes to anyone that's open, and I feel like that's why Kincaid got a lot of receptions. He was, fighting to get open in that rookie season, and even though that did decrease, I think they're looking for that to get back to where it was. And obviously when they play two tight ends like Kincaid and Knox, there's a lot more options, and I feel like Kincaid is a great red zone threat because he's such a big guy. He's tall, he can get that ball over some of those shorter cornerbacks and safeties. So I feel like that will be really helpful just for Allen. Even though the offense doesn't need to make too many changes, obviously they still haven't made that Super Bowl win or made it there yet with Allen on the team. So I feel like that they still want to switch up a couple things for the offense, even though the defense has been the priority. But the Bills play-by-play, Chris Brown also said that he's kind of set to have a great season, and said Dalton Kincaid is the guy that will just explode. He said a guy that had to battle through injury last year, but there were signs of his game that were encouraging, even in year 2, where his production dropped off considerably from what it was as a rookie when he had 73 receptions. And then he goes on to say he made more plays down the field last year, even with the reduced number of receptions and receiving yards that he had as a rookie. I blame injuries for curtailing his production more than anything else, and I think here in year 3 we'll have a boatload of Bills players under this regime truly excel and explode onto the scene. I expect Kincaid to do that. This is definitely a very positive take on Kincaid, and obviously I hope that it is true. I want him to explode like Chris Brown said, and that, just getting the confidence, being healthy. I think that's a key. That's where a lot, like the Bills tend to struggle, is into the season when they just have plagued with injuries, from even the offense and the defense. So I think Kincaid is a young enough guy. He's only 25 years old, that, injuries he bounces back from, but it does just boost or lower his self-esteem and confidence. So I feel like getting more reps, getting more playing time, and, he does play in a lot of the percentage of snaps. And I think continuing with that, I think he wants to be that starting spot. And I think there's definitely a high chance of that happening. As right now, he's listed at number 1 on the depth chart. And then there's Dawson Knox and Jackson Hawes, who came in. They got him in the 5th round after they lost Quinton Morris, who wasn't used a lot, but he definitely was an option. And he definitely caught a touchdown last season. And I think they're coming a couple changes. But as right now, I'd say Kincaid and Knox are definitely those two starting spots. Definitely Kincaid. I'm just hoping that, he plays well. This training camp continues to go well. And I'm excited to see what he can do in the upcoming season as long as he stays healthy. So we'll hope for that. Once again, please subscribe to the Bills Digest YouTube channel, and go Bills.